Hello everybody, this is Dutch020 from Dutch DRS and welcome back to my channel. Well guys, of course I will fill you in why I've been here for a week, but as you can see we're jumping right into it. I had a lot on my plate this week with my job and it was gruesome, it was tough. I had very long and tough days. There was practically no space in my time to create a video. So last night I had to do my races also during work, and I had them doing them during the work time. So therefore I have limited time of video, and I try to do the best of my screen recording as possible. I'm also now doing the day after commentary, so I'll do the best that I can. As you can see, for the first race we had a real opponent right away. We had a very good start. As you can see, the wet tire trick, or better said, the tire trick really did his job. As you can see, we had the boost to fly away because tire management with Alonso and Sainz is phenomenal for this week. Let me be very clear that our opponent has also left on the soft spot on the Gin boost. Well, the Gin boost again is wonderful in your corner work, but Sainz can easily maintain, if he drives without mistakes, easily maintain P2. Therefore, because we have good corner work as well, maybe not as good as the Gin, but we have a lot more tire management, because the Gin does not have that. They only have the grip management. So he cannot push if he wants to maintain with my pace. And my pace, of course, will be the one-stop strategy, and I will do 4 laps on the softs first, and depending on what my opponent will be, I will decide if I do the soft or the medium. As you can see at P number 1, Alonso having free track to drive away, is Sainz at P3 now stepping up to the plate, trying to take over. As you can see with Sainz, after the corner, if you go full, you always cut off the driver behind you. Not practically always, but practically all the time. And there I have a little bit of space and I can push with Sainz, because as you can see, we can easily also push with Alonso. And now Sainz crossing the 40% mark, so we can easily even do another lap. But we're not going for secure, we're going to push. And that soft tire is doing very good for us. So as you can see, for both drivers, I will be going to the soft tire. He cannot perform an undercut because Alonso is having now his first pit stop, and then Sainz will fly in, and my opponent will not have the room to take over. Alonso had a little bit of trouble there at the back of the field, and to come back to my words, Alonso needs to have a quick pit stop, otherwise Sainz could be in a small amount of trouble here. But as we can see, we have the first pit box, so then it will be very difficult for our opponent to take over. And as we can see, a really well-timed pit stop. I remember yesterday when I was doing the race, I was happy that Sainz at P3 did the soft tire, because I know if he was going to go for the medium tire, he could go for full-on pushing mode for 5 laps. Now he needs to use his tire management skills just to keep up. So actually at this moment on, I knew yesterday there's no reason or no availability for him to take over from P2 or even P1. He really needs a safety car or something weird to happen to catch up on me. And otherwise, without any mistakes, Alonso and Sainz will now fly away for the win. Our opponent now also in the pit with his second driver with Alonso. And as we said, guys, tire management is great, so you want to use those nice boosts, and you don't need to use boosts for tire management per se, but as you can also see, the Towers is doing a wonderful job that you can push as long as you like, but fuel is necessary. Onto his Alonso driver. As you can see, he's using the dead fast boost. Like you all guys know, it's one of my favorite boosts, especially on the fast track, but at Hungarian, trust me, it's not a good suitable boost. You need indeed Gin, Towers, Downforce. I think even Tune In will really do good here. You know, practically every boost with good corner work or grip or tire management, so you can push on as long as you like. As you can see, even on the dead fast boost, my number 1 Alonso is already very close behind him even. So the dead fast boost, of course. Austria, of course, Interlagos, wonderful tracks. Baku also for a nice long straight, but on this track, it's not a good one to use. So, as you can also see, if you're behind and you're at P3, just push, man, and go for that medium tire, because you know if you're crossing that soft after your first pit stop, there's not enough room to push. Well, he did a very good job. He still went to P4 with his second driver. And we wish Scuderia from Blue Jacks, of course, a very well done, and wish him the best of luck for the next races. Alright guys, so the first race we had 47 points. And of course, right again, we're gonna jump right into race number 2. Again, a lovely start, a real opponent.
And it's lights out and away we go!
And for race number 2, we will be going to Singapore, a dry qualification. As we can see, we'll have a nice dry qualification, so I think P1 and P2 will do. And indeed, there we go. Alonso and Sainz for P1 and P2. Lovely track. Also here, your tires will do good, so you always choose to go for a fuel size boost, like I'm doing here with the Warrior. And Carlos has a very bright, someone we can place for him. I think the Towers will do nice, Pre-Chart will do nice. Maybe something with that pit stop, but not really necessary on this track. So let's see, we can just use some boosts. Like I said, I'm P1 and P2. And even though it may be his real driver, he is absolutely no threat to us whatsoever. And as we can see, it is a bot. So guys, herefore, again, I am sorry, this is not the most spectacular race upcoming for now. And this is also not the actual boost that you need to use. Of course, I have many boosts, as you can see, but if you not need to, don't use them. Spare them, you know, it saves you money maybe even for next season. So let's talk the boost you do want to use on this season for this track. I think the downforce, again, is wonderful to use at this track. Very good on your kernel work, as well as the Jin would do. But I do believe the tune-in boost, man, that's good, because that kernel work is slick and fast. And if you're not crossing your opponent, you'll have a very quick pit stop. As you can see with Alonso having a free pit stop availability over here, because we had enough range to the rest of the field. And now we have a lot of space between for our driver 1 and driver 2, because as you can see, Alonso has now a fresh set of tires, and Sainz can now push after the safety car has released, and then he can go for his own pit stop. If a safety car arises, as we just had, and you do have enough time to pit with one of your drivers, do it. As you can just see, there was not a necessarily reason for me to pit. I can easily go 2 or 3 more rounds even after this. But it's a risk you don't want to take, even though you're driving a bot. I mean, we're going for full maximum points, of course. As you can see, after our first race, we already had a real driver. We have a bot right now. So especially against the bot, you don't want to make any unnecessary mistakes or risks. Just do what you gotta do. Again, Sainz now up for P1. In Holland, we call it the hit-out boost. I really don't know what the pronunciation in English will be, because also the tune-in boost has a very different name in Holland, because the tune-in boost is translated voices with us, so sometimes it's a very weird analogy. But herefore, back to the race, guys. As we can see, Sainz can now fly away. Alonso, no need to push. We have enough on our tires to maintain for a few laps. And of course, the entire field still needs to go for their first, and probably their last pit stop. Well, Alonso is on a very good boost, so if Sainz has a free and clear pit stop, we're going to push with Verstappen. Oh, sorry for that. We're going to push with Alonso, and we'll see what we can do. Our bottom driver now at P7 and P13 is Verstappen. Now at 13 is Alonso at 7. After this lap, both of my drivers will go in for their soft tire pit stop. And as you can now see, that probably the entire field will almost go for their pit stop or the lap after. For us, there's enough space now between driver 1 and driver 2. So as you can see, now with Alonso, we can start to push. Again, guys, not very exciting, so back to the boost. Like I said, the tune-in boost, again, very wonderful here. That fuel is also critical, because if you're fighting at P1, P2, P3, and P4 with your opponent, fuel is also very, very important, because you want to push. And if you're in front, if he's back, you also, of course, want to push. So the instinct boost is also very nice, because the instinct boost provides ×3 takeover, if I'm not mistaken, and of course a 3 times fuel advantage. So again, the instinct boost is a wonderful one to use. I do believe that tune in is the #1 boost here, and on your second driver, instinct or something with corner work like Jin would do. The last serious the last serious Singapore race that I had, I did it with indeed Jin boost on driver 1, and on driver 2 I used the tune in boost because in the corner work he was still keeping very good pace, and on the pit stop I could do an undercut on the driver. And again, guys, of course, for every team score and for every opponent, there is a different setup and there is a different boost you want to use. Like I said, on P1 and P2, no need for me to use the tune-in or the Jin boost. Save those boosts. So if you have a real opponent and that real opponent is a huge threat, use the Jin boost and every other boost with corner work or with fuel. Alright guys, enough talk about the boost. Now it's waiting time for the last lap, and we are now driving still for a flawless Saturday. Also very important, guys, today's video will be the only one of this weekend, so it's not necessarily that I'll put the open races and the final races of 2 videos. I will make today's video the 1 video. It's already very late in some countries, so I do believe that a lot of you guys already did their races. I just want to keep you guys a little bit posted of my thoughts of what's been going on. So that's for the last round. The next story, of course, I started my own team, Dutch DRS. We're still highly recruiting, of course, of high-value Dutch players. And our Team 2 has now 50 players and Team 1 has 20. So that also shows us we're not allowing everybody to join. We are very selective, and we are only accepting the best motivated Dutch drivers. And it's taken a lot of time, and that's normal, and I love it. I do believe it's going to settle down, of course, a little bit because the groundwork has been set, and therefore, again, that I said it was a very hectic time for me at work. And this week I have 3 days off and a normal schedule, so therefore I'll make normal videos, I'll be present, and I even missed this, making this video. I'm actually really starting to enjoy this. Of course, I did it for, let's say, shits and giggles to start with, but I'm really enjoying this. I'm also seeing, of course, my own mistakes, I'm seeing my own flaws, I see what I'm improving me. So therefore, again, guys, I'm hoping to help you or the other little guy, and let's see if we can rise to the top together and learn from each other's mistakes. Alright, guys, race number 2, 47 points in the pocket.
And it's lights out and away we go!
And the lights out are for Suzuka race number 3. As we can see, we have a wet qualification, and therefore this week, guys, very good to mention, this was a lovely week, no risks, no nothing of changing your drivers, because Sainz and Alonso are starting 1 and 3 and 2 and 3. Doesn't matter if it's raining or dry, they are starting together in the top 3 if you're having a lesser opponent, as you can see until now. So therefore, again, I have a very nice race ahead of me. I have a lot of space between me and my opponent. It was a mop driver, so I was not taking any chance if he was real, yes or no. And as we can see now, it is a bot. But again, with Mob, Black Sails, those are teams, Hunter Elite, of course, and many others, but are not teams that I'm taking any chances with. I have enough boosts, as you can see, 1,000 each, or plus more even on the downforce, as you can see. So no chances, no risk. We are going for full maximum points today. So race 1 again, guys, as you see, I had a great opponent, and race 2 and 3 a easier bot. So here for you then, you see the downforce boost on driver 1, because if you're going slow as I'm doing right now, as you can see, the downforce boost is still very good in his corner work. So he'll still maintain the pace and the rhythm between driver 1 and driver 2. Therefore, guys, here it is, the tune-in boost I was talking about during Singapore. The corner boost is amazing. So Alonso will have no problem in keeping up the range on Sainz, and he will have an awesome pit stop. So no reason for us to push, because even though if driver number 3, and I believe that's Norris, will overtake us with another type of tire compound, it doesn't really matter. He will have a quick pit stop and will overtake when he will go for his pit stop. I do believe if you see the pace of the race that driver number 3, Norris, will be on a medium tire. But we have enough wiggle room here to set some pace. see now here Sainz going in for the last corner, and we're both on our drivers for the pit stop. We're going on a different strategy. As you can see on Sainz, we are going for a medium tire because that downforce is very good. And as you can see, we have so much space. There is no need to push with Sainz anymore. Therefore, Alonso, we're going to put him on the hard tire because we need some push work maybe. And even though we're now staying in front of Norris, even though Norris would have overtaken us, the next lap we would have overtaken him again. So we're going to push here for a little bit to create some nice amount of distance. And then we're going to hold back our drivers just to easy drive out the race. So we see that our bottom opponent is not doing very well. He's at P7 and P19 at the moment of time, and he's really stuck behind there with his Leclerc. As we can see that our drivers are now easily flying away. A lot of seconds already build up to number 3 Norris, and there we go. Number 3 Norris is now into the pit lane, and he remains at P3 after his pit stop. And as you can see now, guys, we have half a track already advantage to all the other bots. And there we go. Sainz and Alonso can now take it easy, take a well-deserved rest. They did their job yet again. Of course, guys, after other boosts, the downforce and the tune-in, there are a lot of other recommendations for this track. The out boost, the old out, very quick pit stop time. I think also the pretzel would do you good, or the tulip. Tulip has better reliability and a quicker pit stop, so I think that will also do you very good if you're battling it out. But I also used Samba even here, and Samba is a very good one on wet circumstances, but also it gives you 5 times that fuel advantage. So if you're at P1 and you're driving to the full-on with the other driver, he'll maybe have a better, quicker boost, but don't you worry, because you can easily push for those full 7 laps, and he will not have the room to do so. So I had a race, I will not mention his name because it was a very respectful race. I don't have it on video as well. He was at P1 and P4, I was at 2 and 3. This driver 1 had the hex boost. It was rainy conditions, and he first flew off. He did very good, and I kept behind him. But again, we both flew, and he knew he needed to push. He recognized my Samba boost, and after after lap 6, it was done for. He had to really hold back, and he almost didn't even make it to the race, I believe, because when he finished the crossing line, his car fell down. So therefore, guys, if you're at P1, that Samba is a very nice boost, and your opponent will not expect you to use that one. As we see, guys, that Alonso and Sainz yet again did a wonderful job, and they're now in P1 and P2, and our bot will now conclude the race. And here's Russell moving up to P6 in the final corner, and Leclerc at lucky number 13. Even Leclerc in the last corner is now up for P12. Alright, guys, yet again another very exciting race, so I hope that maybe you still had something to show for and something to learn of. And as you can see, guys, very important, his team score was 7.
And it's lights out and away we go!
That means my team score was only 4 points better. And nonetheless, I had a 1 and 3 starting position, and he had 10 and 13. The lesson from there, guys, don't use the flux. The flux is horrible, the flux is terrible, it will never do you any good. And you just saw it. We practically had the same team score, but I was in front of the field, he was dead center eye in net midfield. So therefore, guys, only use the flux when it has a 10% boost or none whatsoever, when it gives you a real advantage. Alright, guys, race number 4, and not only do we have a bot again, it's again a bot that is outside the top 10. So there is absolutely no joy in this, of course. Yes, I am hoping for the full amount of points, of course, after today, but I do hope for some small amount of nice races. Race number 1 again was very nice with the real opponent, but he was not posing any threat after the 2nd or 3rd corner of the race. And race 2, 3, and 4 are completely a set of bots. Therefore, we're going to talk some boost yet again, guys. As you can see, there was no need for me to push everything behind me is a mud. So I was thinking maybe first, of course, Dead Fast or Gladiator or the Lumberjack. There are normal amounts of boost you would use here. But Taurus and Rooster would also do you good if you don't have a battle to fight out. Because as you can see, guys, that tire management is sublime. Science now at 60%. So if we would have had him on green since the beginning of the race, he could easily do 5 laps. But that's something that we're not looking for. That's too safe. We're looking for a normal race with a 4 on the medium and also again 4 on the medium. And as we can see on P3, it's Verstappen on the hard tire, and therefore he's holding back the others, you would presume. But as we can also see at P4, 5, and 6, those guys are not on the hard tire, but they're not really keeping up with Verstappen. So we're having a very easy race under good circumstances. And by having a good race, I mean that solely for myself, because yet again, guys, for you guys, it's not so much entertainment. So though, back to the boost. If you're in front of the field, yes, I do believe the Dead Fast, the Lumberjack, the Gladiator are much more suitable for you. But if you're just like our opponent, if our opponent was a real bot, that Rooster and Taurus would have been great for him. Because that Rooster boost gives you very well track and tire management and a little bit of grip, but he's also very good with blocking. So your second driver will be on the Rooster and your first driver will be on the Taurus. Because the Taurus is even better tire management and a little bit more fuel. So if your first driver's in the Taurus, you can try to take over the other drivers. And if you're not doing that and you don't want to stack your cars, you can easily hold back with your second driver who's on the Rooster boost, because he'll hold up the field no matter what, because that boost is insane. The only track that boost has some problems is at Abu Dhabi, but even Hutch has some problems at Abu Dhabi because that track is horrible. And really, guys, when Abu Dhabi is in the setup of GP races, I'm already looking at a terrible weekend. Sometimes, of course, I scored at 47 points, but man, that is a gamble. After the first forced corner, a lot of guys just drop dead, so the entire field just drops dead. Then after the first straight, of course, you did chicane. And as you all know, you can just drop dead in the water at that moment of time. So, yet again, sometimes you're lucky at that track, and sometimes you are not. We did some nice pushing with Alonso and Sainz. You can see we're now going to hold back and we're going to easily drive out the race. No immediate threat again from our opponents behind us. And our opponent is now at P6 and P10 on the hard tire. And Sainz at P10 will probably finish the race with his hard tire. At P6 Alonso, as you can see now, he probably has 50 or 45% left. So he should make his final pit stop in 1 or 2 laps. As we see, Sainz still doing a wonderful job. Alonso cruising very swiftly behind him. There we go, guys. P3 and P4 are now going to the pit for their first pit stop, and Verstappen at P3 already did his pit stop, but again, hereby no opposing threat to us. So guys, this will of course conclude again our first 4 races of today. So the first half was flawlessly. We had 1 real opponent and yet again 3 bots. So those statics are good, but I do hope for the final 4 races we will have 1 or 2 real opponents. And of course I do hope it not with the max team score, because that will give us too many problems to get that full team, those full 376. But of course we want to show some entertainment, so I do hope for a opponent with, let's say, a team score of maybe 20 less. So that means his first driver will easily could keep up with my drivers, and that will mean that I don't have too much trouble with both of his drivers. Yet again, guys, a team score of only 10 difference would only conclude that some of the car parts will have a small amount of a difference, but the drivers will probably be at full max level. And there we go, guys. Sainz has concluded the race, and after that said, Alonso has as well. Our bot opponent has now crossed the top 10 with both of his drivers. At P6 we have Sainz, and P7 Alonso, and hereby crossing the finish line and concluding our Baku race of today in Azerbaijan. Alright guys, and here we go again, of course.
And it's lights out and away we go!
Again, as I said, 4 flawless races, so now we're going to Sakir Desert, Bahrain, a lovely track. This week, here, the spoiler alert, we don't have a 5 lap, we have a normal set of 8 laps again. And therefore, guys, again, I am sorry we have a very low opponent. And as we can see, he is already ready to race. I do presume, again, we have a bot. But again, a bot with a much lower team score. Yeah, like I thought here, indeed, I don't want to spend too many crazy boosts on maybe a lumberjack, or let's see where we have plenty of, because again, we have no threat behind us. And therefore concluded the time, so lumberjack and downforce it will be. Alonso, let's use of course the tire start on the guys. No need to use it, but still you can have already a nice little sprint start and fly away from your opponent. After corner 1, of course, cancel. I see it too much. I see it with my opponents, I see it with my teammates. Guys, after turn 2 or 3, cancel that pit stop. For the people who are thinking, yeah, but I'm battling it out with my opponent, you're not driving the car, you're pushing a button. And you need to push the cancel button and no button else. So, for again, guys, when I am driving, I am screaming literally against myself. Cancel. I made the mistake once by going into the pit and ruining my race. And that was one time in a GP, and therefore it will never happen again. And also, to be frankly honest, if you're at P1 and P2 like just me right now, don't even use the boost. There is absolutely no reason to use it if you have not a high amount of concentration. If you're someone who makes some amount of mistakes, don't use the trick, because the trick is very dangerous. I already consider myself as someone who has a lack of concentration, so and therefore I don't make much mistakes with the tire trick. It is a slick one, so please guys be mindful if you're using it. I of course have a short on my channel, and that shows particularly how to use it and when to cancel it. Shorts were only for 15 seconds when I posted it, so you won't be seeing me cancelling the pit stop, but I do have it written on the screen. As we see here now, Carlos Sainz in it for his first pit stop on the lumberjack boost. If you're against a very good opponent on this track, the lumberjack is not the boost to use. However, the downforce boost will do you good, but the best boost here will for sure be Jin. Kuwai also very good, but I do believe the Jin boost with the grip and the corner management, it does you very well. Therefore, guys, I only have 450 Jin boosts left, if I'm not mistaken, and therefore I'm only using those puppies for the races that you really need to. And there again, I had a very low bot / opponent for this race, so you will be seeing me using those Jin boosts. Therefore, guys, again, I think I would, against a full opponent, I think at 1 I will do my Jin boost, and for my second driver, I will probably use the Kuwai. Wonderful corner work, and very tough to beat. Our bot opponent now crossed his first pit stop with Alonso, and it seems that on a hard tire he will finish this race with Alonso on this tire compound. At P8 we have Verstappen on the medium tire, and he will for sure make a pit stop going for the last lap. That's kind of a bot thing. He's not even pitting at lap 7 to go 2 laps on the softs. No, he's really drying up the tire until the last lap, and then he makes a final pit stop. Those bots are really easy to predict this season, and therefore, as well as we talked last week during the qualifying video, the wet rain, the rain choices in wet circumstances, those are really horrific to see, but also very nice, entertaining on the other hand. Sainz now went into the pits for his final pit stop, and as we can see with Alonso holding back, no need to pit anymore, because even though at P3 there is no room to take us over, because for the last 2 laps you would need 50% to do so without a boost, and as you can see with the downforce boost, already half a lap into this one, and we're still just crossing the 50% mark, so we have enough space. If we need to push for the final lap. Therefore, Leclerc and Sainz on P3 and P4 still not posing any threat. So therefore, we can safely say if nothing weird happens, we will now go to 235 points after the 5th race mark. As we see with our opponent now crossing the P10 with both of his drivers, still Verstappen, as I said, drying up the tires. He will now go for his last pit stop on the soft. If you're back in the field, guys, like your P11, P12, don't use the gym boost. That gym boost is really for the guys who are up in the field, high in the front. If you're at mid-level field here, I think, again, the downforce, the towers boost will really do you good. You need some track and tire management, but you also need some fuel because you want to push on later into the race. There we go, guys, 235 points after 5 races. And our opponent will now finish his race at P8 and P9. Alright guys, we are still flawless for today. And of course, I'm not saying that.
And it's lights out and away we go!
And we had 4 very easy spots. Silverstone, UK, rainy conditions, one of my favorites. The Hex boost, the tune-in boost are the only 2 boosts I am considering, of course, for this race. We're using the curse on the first one because he can then, of course, fly off. And on your second driver, you should usually use the voices or, of course, the tune-in boost because then you can do an undercut for your opponents. But I'm doing it a little bit different. As you can see on my second driver, I'm having the Hex boost, and for this race it really doesn't matter because as you can see by the tire trick, and therefore again driving a bot, you will easily go to 2. But let's go to a virtual reality. If you're at P4, I was just now with the start, and you have a real opponent, man, that Hex boost on your second driver will really do you good. Because maybe he doesn't give you a very better quick stop than a tune-in boost. However, the corner work in rainy conditions, the Hex boost is unmatchable, even for the tune-in boost. So I had my biggest successes if I had a real driver who was starting in front of me to use the Hex boost on my second driver. Just fly away with your first driver. He's uncatchable. He does not need that great corner work. Of course, the tune-in provides it. But again, the Hex boost will do you even better. And that's the weird part. The Hex boost has no corner advantage. It has a takeover advantage, it has a speed advantage, and a small range advantage. It has nothing for the corner work. But the funny part is, he still has a lot more track gainage. As you can see, a notification popped up for Mr. Ballin. A shout out to Mr. Ballin, even though he will never ever see the light of this video. He is something me and my girlfriend really adore. He gives great, strange, dark, and mysterious stories. A very nice one to look at. So guys, if we're giving shoutouts today, I want to give a lovely shout out to Preco F1 YouTube. Preco F1 YouTube is a guy who is also from Britain, so a nice time to do a shout out during this race. He also started his YouTube channel. We have been converting a lot on how to improve one another and how to help. So therefore, guys, he is doing a lot of detail work. He's making some nice track guides. He just finished a very nice one on Sunford. And he's really good on his statistics, and he tries to give you as much information as he can. Therefore, guys, we have a lot of guys we have contact with, a lot of great stars. And of course, I am doing everything that I can to make Dutch DRS the best team out there. Alright, guys. As we can see, we had our final pit stop. Our other drivers now driving safely at P4 and P6. And our drivers, as you can see, are flying away into the sunset. Metaphorically, again, of course, we are in a wet race against Andrew from the Lion team. But again, this will be a Hutch bot. Sainz on the tune-in boost. And of course, again, Alonso on Hex. There are no other boosts for me practically on this track. Yes, of course, the gym boost and all that kind of boost will do you good. But trust me, guys, the tune-in boost and the Hex, keep it safe, keep it well, because a lot of tracks like this one, you really need it. It's a wonderful track to do so. And I was looking there if we were still. Yeah, I think so. Alonso had some trouble with the guys in front of him, or better to say, the guys behind us who were driving now in front of us. I do have to say this is becoming a very big problem during a lot of my races, where I'm driving to fly with my first or second driver, pass through the guys who are now putting on a lap. But Latifi, Albon, and if I'm not mistaken, yeah, Bottas. Man, those three drivers, I want to kill those three guys. Because last week I was doing a World Grand Slam and I was meeting a full maxed on driver. And man, I was winning the race. And then at the last two corners of Hungary, two of those left guys, first it was Latifi and then it was Bottas. They were really holding me back. And my driver had to go through the grass. And our opponent can take over my driver. And therefore I lost the race during the last corner of the race. And that was horrible. Because I did not lose of strategy or whatsoever. I lost because of that stupid Bottas would not move. So, yeah. And for guys, accidents or whatsoever are in small corners, you are not done until you cross the racing stripe with both of your drivers. And therefore, we just did, again, the 47 points. I can tell you honestly, guys, I was standing in the white storage at this moment at my job did not let them hear this, so I was doing my job while it was all happening. And at this race, I was really like, wow, we're really going.
And it's lights out and away we go!
And of course, for this race, we have the fastest track. We're going for the fastest lap on this track. Alonso and Sainz are gonna fly away. On Sainz, we have the Kauai boost. And I also talked to my teammates. I still regret doing that. There was no reason to. Even though my ball was real, put another boost on it. As you can see, from my point of view, I don't have much of Kauai. Kauai is already something I use on a lot of the tracks if you need to use it on the GP event. And I already used it on a few tracks, so there was no need to use it, so I really cannot tell you why I did this. Therefore, again, I had a long, tough day at work, and I needed to try something. So for the fast lap, we are going to hold back, and at the center field, we're going to push on for lap number 3 and try to put on the fastest lap. The fastest lap I have seen on a lot of drivers are now 23.032. So no one has reached that 22 mark. I also believe that's not really possible without a asset boost. So I do believe if the Claw would have a 10% boost, you can go easily under the 23 seconds. But under our normal boosts like we have now, I think 23.032 will be the maximum available. I slipped there with my finger, as I remember, with Alonso, so I hope that won't give us too much trouble for the time. I do believe that was not something to worry about. Of course, now we cannot see what the time was, but I do believe it was a very nice lap time. I do believe he would have driven easily 23.0 high something, or at least a 23.1 flat. Therefore, guys, Sainz in the Kauai boost, as you can see how easily he can keep up. And that corner work is great for the Kauai. And of course, the grip management of that is phenomenal. For guys, a little bit of stacking the cars, not of a big problem, of course, because only bots are behind us. And as we can see, P3, Leclerc and P4 Hamilton are also crossing the pit lane for their pit stop. And normally I would go now for 4 laps in medium to fully on push and fly away. But I did a soft boost again, as you can see, a soft tire, a soft tire on Alonso. Because I am slightly hoping for that safety car, because if that safety car arises, guys, we can easily go for a very fast track time. And I do believe that if we're going to see somewhere that 2020 something, it will be because it was a safety car. 23.034 again is the fastest time you can pull with normal circumstances. You do need a safety car in your race to do a quicker lap time. And therefore, guys, at this moment, I was already, of course, already knew beforehand, but herefore we are completely sure now that we are hitting the 329 point after the 7 race mark. And therefore, guys, only one more race to go for that flawless score. And this is the second time this season I am now going to the Sunday with the maximum score and hopefully a very fast lap with it. So high chances for a nice medal. I won't be screaming that I have all the chances for medal number 1 because I know who are on my group, and in my group, man, I can tell you, it's it's really it's tough. Only North America has slightly different groups because they have like the blue flags, the black sails, who are a lot of represented over there, and we of course have the high value of the European teams. And in my team, a lot of Hunter Elite, Hunter Formula, Black Sails, also a few of those guys, the Blue Jacks as we saw, Mop guys, so a lot of stack, a lot of potential of great guys. But therefore, guys, finally we have a chance to compete, and I was really actually not believing this, because normally I am sitting at home, I have my headphones on, completely fully concentration mode, and every week there's like a 1 or 2 races that I have too good of an opponent, and I slightly don't have to reach to go for that full maximum of points. And now during all my stress and practically no room to make a good video, as you can see now we are now doing very well. And for the final race, as we can see, again I had a easy spot. This was getting insane. So for the first
And it's lights out and away we go!
With good boost, he knew what he was doing. Unfortunately, he did not have the range to compete with me. But therefore, guys, race 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 are against not just a bot, a very sucky bot. A bot that starts outside the top 10. And as you can see, guys, it's every time a different bot or whatever. I'm not shooting any kind of trick or whatever. I don't know what's happening here. This was the best, easiest matchmaking day of my life with F1 Clash. So of course I don't want to jinx it, but therefore I know already that my Sunday is probably going to be tough, because no way in hell we're going to have 2 days with easy matchmaking. I do believe that if some guys are going to watch this video, they're going to scream or going to hate me because their weekend was horrible with tough matchmaking. Well guys, just watch my videos. As you can see, every week I also have tough opponents with boosts. This is the first video where I can show you that I have like, well, 10 easy opponents. 8, and to be all fair, 7 easy opponents and 1 normal medium opponent. But did not have that competition reach to compete with. So therefore, guys, I can of course tell you what we're doing. We're using the downforce and the towers boost. As I can show you, soft is the way to go when you're kicking off. There's enough room for you to maintain and to push. As you can see, we have a lot of track to go for pushing, because you can see Alonso is just right now crossing the 25%, which you will need for your final lap on the softs. So he has enough space. We're keeping some room with Sainz on the rest of the field. We're gonna push him into the pit lane. And there we go with Sainz. He can also go pushing. Alonso will be going on the medium tire. We will not take any chances with him. He will be pushing for 5 more laps. And as you can see with the towers boost, you would have need 20% for your pit stop. 20% left to make it for your first pit stop. And as you can see with Sainz, we had plenty, so we can easily push. And we're going to take over Alonso so we can go for an easy, safe pit stop. And if there are problems with the race, Alonso as our backup would fix it, because he will hold back all the other drivers. As we see, guys, now Sainz going in for his final pit stop with 1% left on the tire, so we did very well on that part, and he will drive the race, of course, on a soft tire. And therefore, as we see behind us, everybody is going for their final pit stop, except Leclerc is now bumping into over Sainz, and there we go. And that concludes our top drivers. As you can see, guys, that towers and that downforce boost are amazing. If I have a full-on opponent, then usually I start on the soft and finish on the medium so I can push. But again, every race, every tactic, every opponent is different. How much is he behind you? Which boost is he using? Is he using a boost with a lot of fuel? If he's using a boost with a lot of fuel, you would to make sure you keep your fuel until the end of the race, because the end of the race is easier to take over the other driver. So don't try to push too much of a gap, because you can easily close that gap later during the race if he has a lot more of that fuel advantage. So be mindful when you do so. Our opponent now at P8 and P11. The final lap has now rolled in for Alonso and Sainz. And there we go, guys. We are taking home the 376. And as we all saw, the Q races were not there this week. Again, I was super busy, but for you guys, I had a flawless score there again, 188. So for today, we're going to conclude our day at P1 and P2. Therefore, guys, I'm already very sorry to say I don't have any time to show you my Sunday races, because even though I'm going to do them, of course, I have to do them during my work. So even during the work, there is a possibility I have to shut down or whatever if something happens, or I get called away. So therefore, it's not possible for me to record as well, because I have no availability to charge my phone. So therefore, I will need all my battery percentage to finish the race, because when I get home from work, I will fall into my bed, and when my eyes open, the results of the Grand Prix will already be in tomorrow. So therefore, guys, I will combine my Saturday and Sunday in today's video. I hope there are a little bit of use for people that are nice and are happy with the content. Therefore, I had 7 boring races. I hope to give you some nice tips and tricks for the boost. And of course, guys, I am online, so if you need any help or any assistance on your boost or whatsoever, please give me a shout out and give me a direct message on Discord, and I will for sure help you guys. Guys, thank you very much, and I hope to see you yet again another time. For all of you who are still doing the races for today, stay in the race and keep up for the pace.